Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual doctoral orientation training overview program for fall 2023. On behalf of the graduate school, our Senior Vice Provost for graduate and postdoctoral affairs, along with the graduate dean, Dr. Ambika Matur, along with all the graduate school staff, I'd like to welcome you to the session. We're so pleased that you're here and so pleased that you're starting with us for the fall 2023 semester. My name is John Schaefer. I'm the Associate Director for Graduate Student Success and Professional Development, and I will be the moderator for the program as we go through it. And so let's go ahead and get started with first things first. So this is a couple of just general start of the semester things to keep in mind. You have received all this information via email in the emails that were sent out to you about orientation, but we just want to cover and stress the Rowdy Ready checklist, which was attached and linked to the email sent out to all of our doctoral students starting this semester. These are the items that we get the most questions on. So the first one is, how do we get our UTSA ID? And I'll also cover a lot of questions we received in previous orientation sessions so that hopefully I can get all your questions answered. So you can get your UTSA ID in person at either the main or the downtown campus. And I'll send out links to all of these items, direct links to you after as part of the email with the link to the video. So you'll have all this stuff. You can see where the locations are on campus, either the main or the downtown, but you can also order your ID online. The most common questions we get are, can I step onto campus without a student ID? The answer is yes, you can. The other most common questions about student IDs are, if you are an alumni, were a previous student at UTSA, a staff member, or any employee, do you have to get another ID as a graduate or doctoral student? The answer is no, you can use your same ID. Parking permit is the second most common question we get. You do have to order this permit online. Again, that link will be sent out to you, but it is also part of the emails that I send out over the past few weeks. You cannot order your parking permit on campus. You do need to order it online. And usually it takes, I think it's 5 to 7 business days once you order it to be sent to you. Realizing classes do start next Monday. So some of you may be asking, well, if I don't have my permit, what do I do? Once you order, there is a temporary dash permit you can download and place in your car. And I think that is good for a fairly good amount of time, at least I think 7 business days, I believe. So you can take care of that. You can get your permits. There are a number of permits available. The most common is permit C, which is for commuter, and that is good for the main and downtown campus. All student service are surface lots. The second most common would probably be the Twilight Pass, which allows you to park in any of the student parking after 4:30 p.m. On weekdays, and then anytime on weekends. So those are the most common. And of course, if you choose to pay hourly, if you don't feel like you're going to be on campus a lot, you can park in any one of the main campus or downtown campus parking garages. Or if you're going to be on campus a lot, but prefer your car to be covered, you can pay for garage parking. If you have questions regarding your financial aid, disbursement of funds, your enrollment, your admissions, your registration, or if you're having registration issues, if you're not sure what classes to register for, that's going to be handled. You're going to want to talk to your academic department, your graduate or faculty advisor. But if you have questions regarding issues with actually registering for classes, and again, admissions, enrollment, or financial aid, you will want to visit One Stop. We do have One Stop does have offices on the main and downtown campus. If you want to go in person, you can also call Although at this point in prior to the semester, there's going to be a long wait queue but you can call 210-458-8000, and that will give you to a one-stop representative. We encourage you to regularly check your student email. If you are like me, you already have a lot of emails to keep up with. Some of you may have an email for your job. You may have one or two personal emails. And now we're telling you, you need to keep track of yet another one. But the UTSA email, that's your first name dot last name at my.utsa.edu, is the primary way that the university, including the graduate school, will be communicating with you. In regards to what we will be sending you, things regarding opportunities for free funding, professional development sessions to attend, notifications that are of interest to students, and most importantly, opportunities for free food and free giveaways. So you're going to want to pay close attention to your emails. Check it at least once a week so that you can kind of keep up with what's going on around the university and what is available to you to attend. And in addition, your faculty will also be communicating with you through email, also through Canvas. So speaking of that, another question we often get is about technology. So there is a lot of availability for technology, software downloads, etc. The primary ones at the beginning of the semester we want you to be aware of is, of course, I'm sure everyone is already familiar with ASAP. You've been on there. This is where you will register for courses. You can pay any balances you have for tuition and fees, check your grades. This is where grades will be posted, final grades will be posted, etc. Canvas is if you are a previous student and you're familiar with Blackboard Learn, the university is moving to Canvas. So now you would be logging into Canvas for any of your course needs. Air Rowdy, which is the UTSA Wi-Fi network, was recently upgraded. So if you step onto campus, you will have the opportunity to log into Air Rowdy. And then, of course, all students are now have a Zoom account available to them. So any of these items, anytime you log into a system that has to do with UTSA related business, you're going to use your ABC 123 and your established passphrase. The other part is, and a question that I get often is, do I need to attend the graduate school orientation because I already have a department or college orientation? The answer for doctoral students is yes, because the graduate school orientation for doctoral students is mandatory. But the department or college orientations, that if you have not attended one already, that information should be coming to you from your college or department soon. You will want to attend those simply because it's going to provide you information on your program. You get to meet faculty and get a lot of pertinent information that is directly about you and your coursework. We also highly encourage you to follow us on social media. We do send out weekly emails about all of our special events, our workshops, anything that is that we're offering to graduate students on a semester basis. We do send an updated email out weekly for usually the following week's events. But our marketing and communication person is exceptional. And so everything that goes through email, she also highlights on one of many of our social media platforms. So if your preference is Facebook, you can follow us at UTSA Grad School. If your preference is Instagram, it's at UTSA Grad School. If your preference is whatever Twitter used to be called, it's at UTSA Grad School. And then we also have a LinkedIn group for more professional posts. And then all of our virtual sessions are recorded and placed on the UTSA, the Graduate School YouTube channel. To date, we have hundreds of special sessions, informational, and professional development videos on our YouTube channel. And so I would encourage you to subscribe to that channel and take a look. And that, as I mentioned, is where this video will be posted. I am now going to turn it over to our Assistant Vice Provost for the graduate school, Dr. Jeffrey Ragsdale, who is going to talk you through your plan for success as a doctoral student. And Jeff, I do believe I will need to advance the slides for you. So just
I was looking at that. Okay, perfect. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here today. I'm going to kind of talk about these 4 points you kind of see on the screen. And I don't really want you to worry about everything that you see here. I don't want you to kind of worry about remembering it. I just want you to know about it and kind of realize that we're going to be talking kind of in October, and we're going to go through these things in much more detail. So I really just want you to kind of know about that stuff today. And also to realize that the people, processes, and events that I'm discussing are really meant to be points of empowerment for you. So how did this happen? So these 4 action items kind of happened about 3 years ago. There was a task force that was formed to discuss gaps in graduate education. And kind of from those discussions, these initiatives began. Next screen. All right, so the retention and graduation program coordinators. What these people are, they actually started this past spring. They're a bi-directional link to you as a student. So they talk to you, they talk to the graduate school, they talk to your program of study, and they're really a support system for you. They're there to help you navigate your educational journey from beginning today through graduation. They can help questions like petition processes. They can help you monitor your progress to degree, communicate policy, right? Any of those type of questions. They're also going to have what's called electronic business cards. You can see mine here. If you decide to scan that, you'll actually have my information. They'll have them as well. So you'll have another point of contact and be able to reach these people when you have questions. I'm going to introduce some of them right now. Some of them are at actually Linda right now that you see on here. She's at an orientation. But we have Joanne Jones. I'll have her wave. She's for College of Science. Sam Cifuentes is College of CLOFA in HCAP. And then Herman Medina is for engineering. And then Larry had a thing as well. I'll give you minutes if you want to kind of scan that. Okay, perfect. Okay, next slide. All right, so mentor-mentee relationship. Hopefully this has already kind of started with y'all. You've probably already started reaching out to your professors and they've kind of reached back to you. What I really want you to know about, because you'll start hearing about their mentor-mentee relationship kind of moving forward, but they're really there to collaborate and help you track your progress, help you support your achievements, but also realize that mentors happen in different capacities. You may have one for the dissertation, you may have one for just, how you're feeling about the university experience overall, but really know that they're to support you and be open to different mentors throughout your program. They don't always have to be one person. Next slide. Okay, so the IDP process. So what is the IDP? The annual review in IDP is a mandatory assessment that happens every spring, right? It's led by you as a student. And it's also meant for you to be able to talk with your mentor about what you've done in a particular given year. Actually, you can keep advancing, John, a little bit. So what happens is in around March, the graduate school is going to email you saying, hey, it's time for IDP. You are then going to discuss the IDP with your advisor and then fill out the IDP itself. Then what happens is you can either do this kind of cyclical event that you see here where you may, they may send it back to you saying, you know what, you went to a conference and you can put that down, add that, right? So you can get all your experiences in the IDP, or it may just come directly to the graduate school, we sign off and we kind of move forward with it. What's also important about this is, one, it's helping map your successes along the way. And it also is, it also gives you a document that you can use to create a CV or resume and have talking points throughout the next year. Next slide. So what is that? When I talk about scholarly activities, what does that look like? So scholarly activities are Things like, have you attended or maybe presented at a conference? Have you authored a paper? John is going to talk about professional development opportunities in a little bit. And have you gone to any of these? And the answer is yes, you should, right? Is there any kind of future goals that you're interested in? What it also does, it also helps identify gaps. So you may, you get all this information, compile it, look at it. You may see something that you want to do the next year, or something that you've been talking about, and now you see, oh, this is the perfect time and opportunity to add this to my next year's set of desires and wants for the next year. Okay, next slide. DegreeWorks. So DegreeWorks is your program of study or your degree plan in an electronic format. And we're going to talk a lot about this in October. But right now, you can actually go you can go into DegreeWorks through ASAP, and you can go into the student services functions, and you'll see DegreeWorks. Going in there, when you get your program of study and start having those discussions with your faculty members in the next few weeks, go back and look at DegreeWorks and see how the two compare. And then when we meet in a couple of months, we'll really kind of discuss how this looks for you and what you should be looking for as a doctoral student. Next slide. And can you advance one more? And then we'll go back one, sorry. Okay, so the Doctoral Orientation Stage Series. So the Doctoral Orientation Stage Series, you're actually the first cohort that's going to go through this. And what it is at any given point, we have these orientations to kind of meet you at a point in time in your educational journey. So for example, today we're in introductory orientation. We're just touching on a few things, making you aware what's coming up. But when we meet in October, we're actually going to go into much more detail. There's also one in candidacy. When you get into candidacy, there's a number of forms. There's some things you need to be looking for. We'll meet again and kind of get you ready for that. Same thing with the dissertation. There's actually two. There's one early when you first get into a dissertation. And the last one is you're about a semester out, you're about to graduate, and there's a bunch of things you need to do as well. So we kind of want to meet with you, demystify processes, so that way you can you kind of know exactly what you need to do. Okay, go ahead and back one. Okay, so what does this look like, right? So you'll see, right? Launch, candidacy, dissertation. It actually has 3 points to this as well, which is requirements, initiatives, and training. So for example, in requirements, when we meet in October, we're going to talk about the IDP plans we just talked about. There's about 41 questions to the IDP, and we're really going to go through that and look at it so you kind of know what to look for when it comes up in the next semester. Same thing with the interim program of study. We're going to look at that combined with DegreeWorks to kind of, so you know exactly what that looks like for you. If you're kind of in the if you're in the dissertation phase and you're looking at initiatives, John has a lot of writing camps that you can go to, right? And these are really important because they can give you feedback, help maybe clarify things in your mind. There's people there to help you to write. And so that's kind of one initiative that we would kind of hope that you would kind of take advantage of. And then there's also trainings. When we talk about trainings, these are things like the libraries, how to do literature reviews, how to look at all that stuff. You're gonna have to do research type of things, like the responsible conduct of research, the compliance training, all these different things that you need to do. We can then kind of talk about it and kind of get you ready so that when you need to do these things, you're ready to go. Right, that was the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time. I will see you in a little bit.
And I'm back. So I am going to talk to you about what my team does. So as a reminder, that's me and Tim and Dr. Joshi. We are part of what's known as the Graduate and Postdoctoral Success Team, and we assist in numerous areas, but primarily we're looking at for the professional development piece and success piece, how all the sessions that will be incorporated through your doctoral journey. So we like to think that what we're doing is helping you navigate your career, not only in, but also outside of the classroom. So I just wanted to talk to you about some of the things that we offer. So this is what falls under our professional development and student success. So we have, and I'll talk about each one of these. So first, we have the sessions that are normally one-off workshops. All of our workshops, our professional development sessions are virtual, so that they can not only be accessed from wherever you are on your smart device, on a laptop, but also because they're virtual, we do record them all and we place them on the graduate school YouTube channel so that they can be viewed at a later time. Most of these will have something called a micro credential, it's a mouthful, badge, connected to them. So you may ask, what is a micro credential badge? So what right now, or in the past, prior to us adopting these badges, we have always offered professional development sessions for graduate students. However, there's a difference when you're writing your resume or CV under special skills and trainings. There's a difference between saying I attended, which most students, I think, or most new professionals or ongoing professionals don't include necessarily the sessions that they attended in college or graduate school. But what these micro-credential badges or the micro-credentials allow is for you to not only attend a session, but then do some form of a deliverable associated with that session. Sometimes if it's multiple sessions, like for example, maybe it's a series of 3 sessions that we're wanting you to attend, then that may include attendance. If you attended all 3, you took part, you actively engaged, you receive a badge, simply because you put in the work and we've really drilled down with you. So you'll get a badge specifically for that session. For example, let's say grant writing or responsible conduct of research, RCR. So those would have badges maybe attached to them for attendance and engagement. But then we have others where they're one-off sessions. So a soft skills professional development session on mentoring or leadership or public speaking, where it's one, 40 to 45 minute program, virtual. So we're going to ask you to submit a deliverable. It's never anything over the top. We understand all of you are exceptionally busy. You're not only in school, many of you have full-time or part-time jobs in addition to what you're doing at UTSA with your coursework. So we don't want to put a lot of stress and we want you on you or extra work, but we do want you to show that you did in fact learn and engage. And so, for example, public speaking is one of the bad sessions that I do. And I simply ask you to submit answers to I think 5 or 6 multiple choice short answer quiz. That's it. It would probably take you, if you attended the session and if you needed to, you go back and review it on YouTube. The answers are all in the presentation. It's not hard. You submit the quiz, for example, and then we can submit you a badge. If you take part in something like our 3NT competition, which is the 3-minute thesis, which we offer every fall semester, master's and doctoral students have the opportunity to present their research in 3 minutes or less. First, second, and third, and People's Choice receive a financial award. And if you participate in the 3MT, which means you have participated, you've developed the slide for the presentation, you have developed the oral piece, you've gotten up in front of a group, you've presented, that's enough. We're not going to ask you to do more. And so for participating in the 3MT, you would get a micro-credentialing badge. So that's how micro-credentialing badges help you on your resume or CV. These are things you can add to these digital copies of when you're job searching. You can of your resume or CV, you can add them to your LinkedIn profile. You can even post them on social media platforms because they each each credential comes with a illustrated badge that has the title of the training. So that's what and more organizations are recognizing, organizations and companies and universities are recognizing micro-credentials. They're out there, they're utilized, and there is a value put on them. Some of you, I know, are in the Roadrunner Assistantship Academy currently. That is for students that are going to be, or graduate students that are going to be teaching assistants, student graders, etc. You're in that currently. It's running through tomorrow. So we do participate. If you were in it, you saw me on Monday. I was the one of the moderators for the Monday session. We do partner with Academic Innovation on that program, and that the Roadrunner Assistantship Academy is currently in year 3. The career pathways, national perspectives all go together. So about a year and a half ago, we had all of these different types of guest speaker sessions. And they were all based on career opportunities. Primarily, what we're looking at for our students is career opportunities outside of academia. So we had these all these separate entities. And so about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I brought them under one umbrella, which is career pathways, so that they all were linked, they all made sense. And the 3 pieces are the alumni career story. So we bring back an alumni to kind of take you through their cradle to not completion, but cradle to where they are and where they look to go in their education and career. And then we have career trajectories panel. Sometimes that includes alumni. Sometimes that also includes community leaders, organization heads. And so they're on a panel, and we have questions specifically for them that are gauged at a certain area of organization or business, but careers specifically. And then we have our national perspectives session, which is oftentimes a presenter from a national organization under, again, focused on a certain area or discipline, research focus, etc. So last year, we narrowed the focus of the career pathways even further to focus and partner with 1 or 2 colleges each semester, so that the sessions are not only linked under an umbrella that brings all of these types of career talks together with our guest speakers, but now we're focused on serving a specific population of students rather than keeping it very general. So we have served in the last semesters, we have done the College of Liberal and Fine Arts, the College of Education and Human Development, and then this semester we're partnering with the College of Sciences. So all of the career talks, the guest speaker career talks under career pathways will be related to careers outside of academia, and our disciplines within our doctoral disciplines within the College of Sciences. I already mentioned the 3MT. We also encourage engagement on NSF research fellowships, NIH grants, Ford Foundation grants, and Department of Defense grants as well. And I'll touch on that, the funding and how that in general works in a moment. And then the other piece, and this is where one of the ways amongst many that Tim and I work very closely together is on the thesis and dissertation support. So we have thesis and dissertation support programs. Primarily what we're focusing on now, because of the launch of the IDP, are doctoral students. And so Jeff mentioned that we do a dissertation writing camp, and usually that right now, that is offered during the summer. It's a week-long camp, and obviously this is not something that you'll be involved in for a while, but it is available to you. We do offer it every year, and it's a week-long camp that provides a supportive environment where for 7-8 hours a day, you can just focus on your writing. You can block out the world. We provide you breakfast and lunch. We have writing tutors, faculty coaches, and then we are on site to help facilitate the session. And basically anything that you need, we help you with. And what we're adding on to this is a program, and I'm not no spoilers, but we just met about this morning, the graduate and postdoctoral success team, about a concept that Tim and I had, a new concept that Tim and I have discussed to fully support our doctoral students in the dissertation writing process. That will be a nice partner to the dissertation camp. And those programs potentially will be offered 4 times a year. So in the fall and the spring semesters. So that's forthcoming. Be on the lookout for those advertisements via email. Funding opportunities. Most of you as doctoral students will be traveling to academic professional conferences and will be presenting your research. No matter the type of research or how you're presenting it, whether it be a poster presentation, a plenary session, anything that you are presenting over, we can provide funding for travel to offset the cost. So it's not always going to cover the full amount, but we can offer you a max award of $750. Students can receive one of the travel awards per academic year. So that is fall, spring, and summer, one per academic year, but you can apply consecutive years. There's no max on the number of awards you can receive total during your doctoral program, but it is one maximum per academic year. You do have to be presented at a conference. We do not offer travel funding simply to attend. So we are encouraging you to submit research proposals to present. And we do these rounds in fall, spring, and summer. Two deadlines in the fall, 2 deadlines in the spring, and 1 deadline during the summer. Tim manages the travel awards portion. The graduate school fellowship incentive program is what I was mentioning earlier with the different types of how we're encouraging students to submit grants. This is overseen by our Associate Dean, Dr. Teja Gouda, and the program in a nutshell, and advertisements will go out about this, so you can look for it. But you oftentimes will be working with a faculty member, what we're calling a PI, a principal investigator, to work on possibly a grant funding proposal submission. If you, in fact, are involved with a faculty member and you work on a grant and submit the grant under one of these areas, NSF, NIH, Ford, Department of Defense, you can receive, just for submission, you don't have to be awarded, a $1,000 award. And also your faculty PI will receive a $1,000 award. We, of course, want you to get funded, but you only have to simply submit. The only caveat to that is we're asking that your submission, your proposal, before you officially submit it, that you submit it to the graduate school for review and feedback. That's the only stipulation. I am not directly involved in this, the Transdisciplinary Team Grand Challenge, but our other Associate Dean, Dr. Rebecca Weston, who oversees this program, was unavailable. She had another conflicting commitment. So she asked that I kind of give you a nutshell, but if you scan the QR code, it will take you to the website and give you all the information you need to know. The Transdisciplinary Team Grand Challenge is encouraging cross-disciplinary engagement of our graduate students. So it is an annual event where teams of 3 to 5 students from at least 2 colleges work together to write a proposal to solve a problem. So you do have to reach out outside. So College of Sciences, maybe you're going to do something with the College for Health, Community, and Policy. That's an example. And you're looking at, again, 3 to 5 students from at least 2 colleges. Past topics have been over COVID-19, social justice, water, and conflict. So what Dr. Weston develops is the general overall topic, and then you work in a transdisciplinary team to come up with a research grant proposal. I believe that's my understanding. If you're not sure about working on a transdisciplinary team, Dr. Weston will be hosting multiple workshops on the strategies for team building and also answer any questions about the Grand Challenge this fall. She'll be hosting a few or all of them, I believe, in person. And there will be some available on the main campus in our grad space, and then some available on the downtown campus. And I know because Tim and I were chatting with her about this yesterday, Tim is currently working on getting all the rooms and everything. And the nice part is that we always feed you at any of our in-person events. And I'm not going to steal his thunder, but I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague, Tim, who is as I mentioned earlier, our senior programs coordinator. He's also the primary event manager in the graduate school. So he's going to talk about all the fun stuff that we provide you all throughout the year. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim.
Thank you, John. All right. So as John said, my name is Tim Pillais. I'm the senior program coordinator for the grad school, and I do the overwhelming majority of the event management for the graduate school, as well as a host of other things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our community building and various services offered by the graduate school. So the first one, which John briefly mentioned before, but I'm going to explicate upon now, and what it actually is the grad space. So the grad space is a dedicated study room specifically for graduate students that has additional resources and also provides just a space for graduate students to be able to work and to utilize for whatever they need it for. It's going to be in the multidisciplinary building on the 2nd floor. I'm going to type in the room number now. I know that no one's probably terribly familiar with campus yet, but still, just so you have it and know where that room is. We also are going to have information about it listed on our website, including where it's at, what its hours are, and how to access a lot of the services, which I'm going to go over here in a little bit. So our website, which is up at the top, graduateschool.utsa.edu, you can go there. One of the main tabs up at the top is grad space. You can click on that for more information about everything I'm going to go over. So the space is a reservable space. So we ask that if you do want to utilize it as a study space, if you want to utilize it for meetings, for example, if you are meeting with a team of people for classes, for studying, or for the transdisciplinary challenge, which John just talked about, or you can also even reserve it for defense once you do get to that dissertation writing and defending phase. It's a space that's bookable for that as well. So you can reserve the graduate space online via the graduate school's website. If you go to that grad space tab, like I mentioned, some other services that we provide there, we provide free poster printing throughout your time as a graduate student. You'll undoubtedly be involved in conferences and other things that may require you to print and present a poster. Rather than having to pay for that yourself, the graduate school offers free poster printing at the grad space. If you want to utilize that resource, which I would highly recommend you do because posters can be fairly expensive, then again, you're going to access that through the graduate school's website under the grad space tab. There's a form that you'll fill out there that provides that necessary information to us so we can print that out for you. We also have free business card printing, I apologize, free business card printing. So especially as you get closer to graduation and you start looking for jobs and networking becomes much more a part of your life, then you can utilize that resource there as well. And then another one for as you prepare to graduate, that's really useful is we also offer professional headshots there as well. So the grad space is a really useful space for you to know about. It has lots of resources for you. It's also just a dedicated space specifically for you. So please make sure you do utilize it if you're able to and if you're on campus. The other thing that's important to know is that it's where we host our monthly First Friday event, which I'm going to go over here in a little bit. Next thing is Roadrunner Days. Roadrunner Days happen each and every year. It's not just related to the graduate school. Roadrunner Days occurs across all campus and involves collaborative work and events put on by units across campus as well. So Roadrunner Days, for example, we're going to have the first week starting next week and the second week of the semester. The first weeks of the semester are technically Roadrunner Days. So you'll see lots of events happening across campus. We'll be participating in that via our monthly socials, which again, I'll talk about here in a little bit, but there's also various other events that are happening on campus, all of which are based around informing you about the campus, resources, getting you connected to campus, getting you connected to the various departments and offices that are going to be vital for your success at UTSA and which are available to you at UTSA. So if you want to learn more about that, you can just Google search Roadrunner Days. It'll bring you to the Roadrunner Days website, which lays out a calendar of events, of what's happening, where it's happening, and how you can get involved and be a part of it. The next thing is Graduate Student Appreciation Week. Graduate Student Appreciation Week is the first week of April every year, so it happens in the spring semester. During Graduate Student Appreciation Week, we put on a whole host of events, all dedicated to you as graduate students. We also partner with various other offices across campus, such as the libraries, Wellbeing Service, Campus Rec, and numerous others, to provide events and resources for graduate students to get you lots of free stuff, lots of food, and help just celebrate you as grad students. You're a huge part of what makes UTSA UTSA. And so we want to take the time each and every year to commemorate that and all of your hard work, and also to offer you the opportunity to showcase it, because it's going to be during that Graduate Student Appreciation Week that we do things like poster presentation competitions. So as we move towards the spring semester, keep an eye out for information about that. As John mentioned, all of this is going to be sent out to you. The primary method is going to be via email. It also gets posted on all our social media. So make sure you're following our social media and make sure you're reading those emails that go to your @my.utsa.edu email addresses. Then the final two things, and these are our recurring monthly events. These are the main thing we do for you as far as community building, and that is going to be our First Friday events. First Fridays, as the name would imply, happen the first Friday of every month. The only times we don't do this is whenever there is a graduation going on or January. So we don't do it in January, May, August, or December, but every other month of the year we have a First Friday. It's going to be at main campus at the grad space at that multidisciplinary studies room 2.02.46. We provide food. It's always a breakfast, so it's usually coffee and donuts or pastries and coffee, something like that. Also, that's where we hand out a lot of our swag. The graduate school does pride itself on having some of the, if not the best swag on campus. So for example, what we'll be launching this coming First Friday, which will be on the 1st of September, is our graduate school, what we've dubbed breakfast set, which is this matching set of ceramic mugs and cereal bowls, which you can then get by attending those events. We're also going to hand out things like t-shirts, water bottles, whatever other swag we have at the time. It changes and varies, and we try to mix it up and keep it interesting. But it's mostly an excuse for us to give you lots of free food and lots of free stuff. So please attend. The other reason we do it is because we want you to get connected with other graduate students, especially students outside your immediate cohort. Build that network, get connected, find resources, find your own community and your own connections with other doctoral students, like I said, especially beyond your immediate cohort. So first Friday is first Friday of the month, every month, except for when there's a graduation. Then similarly at downtown campus, we have our downtown campus socials. Those usually happen either on Wednesday or Thursday because downtown campus is smaller and we have more limited space when we don't have a dedicated space at downtown campus. We are subject to availability of event space, which is why it's not on a specific set date. It really depends on what's available, but we always try to make it that first week of the month and either on a Thursday or a Wednesday. Again, it's free food, free stuff for us to, free swag for us to give out to you. And again, the opportunity to meet one another, interact with other graduate students, interact with people who you may not normally come across in your regular day-to-day as a graduate student. These events are also open to all graduate students, so master's students as well as doctoral students, and our postdoctoral fellows also end up there a lot as well. So it's a great way to meet people in various stages of their graduate career, get to know them, talk to them, again, build your own social network in that way. So that's going to be all of our community services and community building. I hope to see you there. We put a lot of effort into trying to make them as useful for you as possible and make sure that we have good food and lots of free stuff to give you. So definitely please make sure you utilize that. John, you can, yeah. All right, so now we're going to do a panel discussion with two of our staff members, one of which you've already met, Dr. Jeff Ragsdale, and then I'm also going to ask another one of my colleagues, Dr. Maria Medrano, I apologize, to come and join us and then do a brief introduction of themselves before we dive on into our questions. Before that, I will say we're going to be doing some pre-written questions that we have that are common questions for graduate students. After this, we're also going to have the time to do some Q&A. So if you have questions and you want to start popping them in the Q&A function now, then this would be the time to do so. And once we're done with our questions, we will start moving on to those questions in the Q&A function and getting those answered. But in the meantime, if Dr. Ragsdale and Dr. Medrano would like to introduce themselves so we can get started.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff Ragsdale. I'm actually graduated from the Educational Leadership Program in 2017.
Hi, Tim. Can you allow me to share my video?
I did. I made you a co-host.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Medrano Guillen, and I am the Director of Diversity in the Graduate School. And I completed my PhD in experimental psychology in 2021. So also recent graduate.
You're on mute, Tim.
Thank you. I apologize. All right, now let's get started. Now that hopefully folks can hear me. All right, so just like in previous orientations, I'm going to ask you both a question. And if you both would like to answer, feel free to do so. If only one of you wants to answer, that's totally fine as well. But to get us started, what is one of your favorite memories of your time as a graduate student at UTSA?
I can go first. I think at least within my cohort, we had someone that was having a baby. So that was kind of exciting just because we got to see that experience and kind of see this baby kind of grow, and it was kind of a fun experience.
I think mine, I don't have a specific favorite memory. For me, it was just little moments of that made me feel like I was part of the program or part of the department. I did my program part-time while working full-time, and then I also had kids. So I always felt like I didn't have time to make friends or socialize or talk to people. So when someone in my cohort invited me to trivia or asked me to do a poster or just knew my name, it made me feel like I belonged, and it helped me realize that I wasn't going alone through the journey.
Thank you both. Given what you know now on the other side of the program, having completed it, is there one piece of advice that you wish you could go back and give yourself at the beginning of the program?
I guess I'll start. I think for me, it would be kind kind of full knowledge of everything you kind of need to do, because there's a lot of, I think that's one of the reasons we're doing this stage orientation, because there was a lot of just like, I don't know what's happening next. And so what I would, is what I really like about the stage orientation is that it's demystifying the processes, because there's just a lot of mystery what you need to do and when you need to do it. And so that, being able to have that information sooner would have been a lot less stress.
I think for me, it was taking it one step at a time, having small goals between the milestones that Jeff talked about earlier. So a lot of the times I felt that there was no way that I was going to pass a qualifying exam, defend the proposal, complete the dissertation. Everything just seemed so overwhelming. So I think just making little goals. When I passed the qualifying exam, I was like, okay, this wasn't so bad. I think I can do the next step. And kind of like keep going. And even when I got to dissertation, I had to set small goals like writing X number of paragraphs per day. And not only would I make small goals, but I would also reward myself with screen time, naps, sleeps. So don't look at it as this like huge commitment. Look at it as small goals, and don't forget to treat yourself, because it's not selfish and you do deserve it.
Why is it important to find a professional mentor, and how do you go about finding one?
I'm gonna let Maria go first.
I think obviously it's very important for just support through the program, learning from their experience, making connections to other professionals who are in your field. Mentors play a huge role in graduate student academic success and well-being. And I know that because I do research on it. So if you ever want to talk about it, feel free to reach out to me. If you don't have a mentor now, make sure that you take the time to think about the qualities that you're looking for in a good mentor. Do you want somebody who is more personable, or do you prefer somebody who can contribute more through their experience? Do you care about availability, approachability? Find someone that checks all those boxes for you. And at the same time, remember that a successful relationship between you and your mentor will also depend on your ability to be mentored. So we do have some resources. They're mainly for faculty, but we have some resources for our students on how to be a good mentee. So make sure that you also check those out.
And I would add, a lot of my, when I met my mentors was, in opportunity. I was, maybe at a conference, or I was at or doing something here at UTSA, maybe cross divisions, kind of working with different folks. I kind of met people and kind of would ask them questions and kind of kept in contact. So I know that, how do you do that? Sometimes it's just happens. In this case, I was lucky in terms of I had these opportunities and I met people. And sometimes I think sometimes you just have to seek people for that reason.
What is the best piece of advice you've received as it pertains to graduate school?
I can go first. I think the best piece of advice for me was having open communication with professors. And it sounds really obvious, but I clearly remember going through the program, and there was a significant event in my life that happened, and I just tried to push through the courses without any help. And needless to say, I didn't do very well that semester. Somehow I got by. But a year later, I found myself having a one-on-one conversation with this professor. And what he told me was, if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you. And so I know that life happens, and sometimes it's really hard to ask for help and ask for flexibility or extra time. But these professors, they were doctoral students at one point. They understand generally what the experience is like. So don't be afraid to reach out for help or extra time or anything like that.
And I think for me, in terms of, it was the libraries. Getting connected to the libraries is like really important, because they have so many different options for you. Especially, doing a lot of research online. There's so many different resources in there. So one of the best experiences, was really when I first began in our actually one of our courses, they actually took us to the library. They had us go through all the different pieces and kind of explore it. And for me, that was really excellent because I now had a place where I know, where to do my research, who to ask when I had questions, all these great things. And I think that was really helpful, especially at the very beginning and in the dissertation phase.
Why is professional development as important as academic development?
Oh, that's definitely really important because you need to develop that side of you, especially, because you're not going to be just in a research vacuum. You're going to have to at some point go out and, interact with people. And so some of these professional development activities are really great in kind of getting you immersed and starting to kind of look at what those conversations look like with just peers, but also administration. You're going to have to navigate a lot of different, options. And so I think these professional development activities kind of help with that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff, and I think it's just as important. Like, it just helps you develop those skills that you may not get to practice too often in the classroom. It opens up obviously a lot of opportunities through your programs. It increases your chances of graduating as a more qualified applicant when you're looking for jobs. So I would just say I can what's it called? I just feel like you should definitely always take advantage of the opportunities that are offered at the graduate school. I think you're going to benefit greatly from those, and we just want you to go out there and represent us. So take advantage of what we have to offer.
As a doctoral student, what are the best ways to engage in the classroom?
Sometimes you're forced to, right? That's kind of one way, because sometimes you're made the person in charge of the classroom that day, right? So you kind of sometimes it's kind of put on you, but you learn from that event. But I also think it's kind of also bonding with your cohort, because a lot of times you're going to be doing a lot of things together. A lot of stuff. When you get to the dissertation phase, that's you. But before that, there's a lot of collaboration. And so just by working with them and collaborating, I think also kind of helps you in the classroom.
I think definitely using those critical thinking skills that are going to continue to be developed through your program. Ask a lot of questions. Ask questions to your professor, but also ask questions to your other classmates. Similar to what Jeff was saying, even if you're not made the person who's supposed to lead discussion that day, ask your classmates questions. And I think the last thing is pretty obvious. Make sure that you read the material for the classroom. It's going to be very difficult to make meaningful contributions to the conversation if you are not familiar with what you're doing that day. And that's especially obvious when you're in a classroom, if you have my experience of 7 people in one small conference room. So make sure that you, again, read, ask lots of questions, and use those skills that are going to be helpful either way through the program.
In your opinion, what 3 factors are most important for success as a graduate student, and why?
I'm gonna let Maria begin on this one.
I think that it's going to definitely be time management, having a good mentor, and taking care of your well-being. When it comes to time management, I've said this many times, I know that graduate school is hard, but I never really had a moment where I was like, I can't do this anymore, or just like a breakdown, unless I didn't plan properly, unless I didn't manage my time well. All of those moments that you typically think of when you think graduate students, they happened when I, left a paper I was supposed to write until the day before. Writing at midnight, that was the only time. Otherwise, if I stuck to my small goals and managed my time well, everything was pretty manageable. I think obviously, like I said, having a good mentor is going to be critical. They keep you in line. They're there for social support, and kind of tying back to that, just well-being, taking care of yourself. If you're not doing well, it's going to be really hard for you to focus and concentrate on your projects and what you need to do, especially for those of you who are doing assistantships as well, because you'll have to be well within yourself to be able to keep up with the courses, the readings, the projects, probably traveling to present your research. So I think those 3 things are going to be key.
I agree with Maria. Definitely time management, because you really have a lot of balls rolling, especially when you get into like the November, December timeframe in the fall. Pretty much everything is kind of due at that point in time. So, having good time management skills will definitely help you during that time. And I also think letting your family and friends know what's going on study wise, right? What you need to do in school. So they kind of understand, oh, I can't go to a certain event or do certain things. I think that's also key, that kind of communication with folks around you. And I think I agree. The third one is kind of some of those well-being things that when I started really wasn't a big discussion, but now really is, I think, really important to kind of explore those options in well-being.
What role does your cohort and classmates play in the success during your tenure as a graduate student?
It's actually really important because it kind of, you kind of go in as a group dynamic. So, you get to know each other, get to know each other's strengths when you work on projects together, how you kind of divide those projects based on those strengths, and kind of knowing each other is really, really key in that. But again, a big part of that is communication, because you don't want to be that one person who, they keep emailing and they don't, you don't respond. So I think you also have to be big on communication during that point with everybody.
Yeah, I definitely think I think they're going to be very helpful when it comes to social support. This is a group of people that will more close. Nobody has the same experience. We all have different backgrounds, different things going on in life, but this is a group of people that will more closely understand what you're going through. So they're there for you to be able to vent to each other. I think at the same time, there's academic support. So when I was studying by myself, I found it really hard to focus. It was more entertaining even to study with people in my cohort in a study group, in a study room, I'm sorry. And it also helped me realize, maybe I was understanding something wrong and seeing different people's perspectives on it. So I think they're just going to be just as impactful in your success as your mentor and your family.
Wonderful. And that really leads nicely into this next one. What factors contribute to success in group projects?
Definitely communication. And of course, like I said, dividing responsibilities. So that way you all kind of know exactly what you're doing when you kind of go into this project. It makes it much clearer, I found, than just kind of, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that. If you really delineate it, it's more successful and there's less likely to be confusion, I would say, at least from my perspective.
I think in addition to that, for me, it's diversity in backgrounds, diversity in expertise, diversity in experience. So I think it was my very first group project in my doctoral program, my cohort was like, we're a group. And I was kind of left out a little bit, which was completely fine with me. I ended up in a group with doctoral students who had been there 2 years, 3 years, about to graduate. And so it was really helpful for me to learn from them. And the way that we kind of worked it out was, hey, you're new to the program, so let's have you and another new person work on a lit review so you can become more familiar with the literature while we focus on the stats. We taught each other. So it was a great experience. And that's kind of the moment where I realized like diversity is definitely key for success. And like Jeff said, communication always.
All right. And finally, how can students keep themselves motivated in the hybrid or fully virtual classroom environment?
I'll let Maria start.
I think I feel like I'm being kind of obvious, but at the same time, not really, because it's hard. Keep your camera on, even if you have to be muted. Keep it on if you're going to be in a virtual or hybrid environment. So that way you're not tempted to, get on your phone or, start looking at something else, start working on something else. Very similar to what I said in keeping engaged in the classroom. I ask a lot of questions. Show the professor that you're interested, that you're contributing to the conversation, even though you are virtual. Ask questions to your classmates. Send links if you have to, but definitely try to keep your camera on. I think that's going to be the most helpful thing.
Yeah, I would agree. And then even like using the chat function so that they can see that you're communicating back and forth. Because sometimes maybe you can't really talk, but maybe you're at least chatting and typing things down so they can see that you're engaged.
All right, so that is the end of our questions there. It looks like most of the questions that have come in have been able to be answered in the chat, but now is your opportunity. You are incoming doctoral students. You have the opportunity to ask two experienced doctoral students who graduated from UTSA and earned their doctoral degrees at UTSA. So we're going to take a couple of minutes for you to ask any questions you may have of them, pick their brain. You can drop those questions in the Q&A function. I'll read them aloud to our panel and we'll answer them as best we can. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop those in. The only one I see right now is, what is the university's policy on using ChatGPT to augment dissertation generation? I don't think we have a definitive answer for that yet. My guess is because it's very new technology, it's still being figured out. That's my understanding. I don't know if Jeff or Maria have anything to add on that.
No, I don't think there's anything said.
Nothing really, not yet. I'm sure it'll be coming, but there's nothing yet.
Yeah, it will likely be coming. I know it's things that are being discussed. We have a specific copyright librarian who I know that this is something she's thinking a lot about. And so nothing yet, expect to see guidance though coming, not just from UTSA, but in higher ed in general. All right, let's see. Are there any specific accommodations or plans available for part-time students? Most universities focus on full-time students, and I wanted you to ask if there are any resources specific for part-time students. Dr. Medrano, I know you are a part-time student. You might be able to speak to that a little bit.
I'm not sure about specific. I know we have access to everything that everybody else has access to, but I know that for me, what was really important is communicating to every beginning of the semester, communicating to my professor that I was part-time and that I work full-time and that I traveled a lot for work. So I think it's going to depend on you communicating that to your professors. And most of them did accommodate to, if I had to travel on a test day, they moved the test date not for the entire classroom, but they allowed me to test either before or after everybody else. They were, you're not really excused from missing classes so often, but sometimes I knew that I was going to be out 6 classes out of the entire semester, so we worked around that. So I think while you have access to everything that everybody else has access to, it's important for you to talk to your professors and see what type of flexibility they'll allow. Most of them will be okay with it. Like I said, they were doctoral students, so they know generally what the experience is like.
Yeah, I would agree. I was part-time as well. And so I just had that communication with my professor, but I also had it with the work. That was the other thing. I told them things that I had and what I needed to do and those expectations for the semester, so that in case I needed to, like you said, miss something, for classes, I would let them know. So it kind of went both ways. I kind of, communicated with the professor and with my job here at UTSA.
Right. Thank you both. What advice do you have about finding alternative sources of funding outside of UTSA's award packages?
I would say be on the lookout for training grants, which is something that I actually focus on. So there's that available. That's mainly probably going to come through the department or somebody within your program that has a grant. That's one. There are scholarships available out there, fellowships. I don't know how often the graduate school does it, but I know that I got a few fellowships even though I was a part-time student. So that was really helpful when doing research. What else? There are, I know we have, Tim, do we have mini grants for our graduate students?
I'm not sure exactly about that one. I know that there are many grants offered. I know, for example, like PKP, one of the honor societies here at UTSA, does offer several grants, including mini grants specific for graduate students. So lots of different organizations and bodies across campus and even outside of campus do have funding opportunities. It's just being aware and being willing to seek them out yourself and find out what they are, and then reach out to people, even if you are not sure if they're the right person. Just start by talking to someone. Eventually they'll be able to pass you off to the right person. But I know there are some grant opportunities through other organizations that are on campus, but not necessarily a part or aren't necessarily administrative. So like, for example, I said an honor society offers some mini grants. And yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also Hispanic, the Hispanic Fund has some opportunities for graduate students. So I think generally any scholarships that are out there, if they, some of them will specifically say this is for undergraduate and graduate students. So be on the lookout for those as well.
The next one, can you please tell us more about library facilities? For example, can I borrow a laptop from the library for a short time? I'm actually going to take this one because I came to the graduate school from the library and I worked at UTSA libraries for 3 years. So yes, to answer the immediate question, yes, you can borrow laptops. The UTSA libraries has both short-term and long-term rental for laptops, including semester-long checkout versus just 24-hour checkout. And then they'll say the semester-long checkout does go very, very quickly. It's a queue that's opened at the beginning of the semester. Each semester, you would want to hop on that right away if that's something you are interested in. The UTSA Libraries has a very good website that has pretty much all of its resources laid out on there, including borrowing tech gear, borrowing any policies just in general, room reservations, things like that. The UTSA Libraries also subscribes to a massive amount of online resources, ranging all the way from video resources to scholarly review articles to assistance with citation machines and a whole bunch of other things. Definitely check out the UTSA Library website. One of my personal suggestions is that you familiarize yourself with the UTSA Library website as soon as possible and figure out who your librarian is. There are subject librarians for every major subject across campus. Figure out who yours is. They're going to be your best friend when it comes to utilizing resources, finding out what resources are available to you and how to utilize them. That's all going to be on the UTSA Library website. They have a button that literally says find your librarian. So yeah, my suggestion, spend at least 5 minutes acquainting yourself with the UTSA Library's website and make sure one of the things you do is figure out who your librarian is and how you can contact them. They have so many resources, so many resources, most of which go massively underutilized and most students don't know about. I know I oversaw all of the student work, or all of the student workers and student supervising, and most of our students would say they didn't know about most of those resources until they were working there. So definitely, yeah, look at that website, spend some time with it. There's a lot there for you. I'm gonna move on to the next one now. I'm not sure the answer to this one, Dr. Ragsdale might, but what is the max online number of courses a student can have per semester to be considered full time?
If I think this person is an international student.
International. So yeah, I would meet with international programs because you may not be able to take online. So you kind of really need to meet with them to kind of to do that, to make sure you're doing the correct thing. Typically 9 hours is full time at the graduate level, but whether it can be online courses or not, you really need to talk to them.
And International Student Services is one of the links I'll be sending you all post the session, along with the link to this recorded session. So you'll have their website contact.
And I will say we are coming close to time, so we're only going to do a couple more questions than we have now. Any advice on how to approach trans-departmental collaboration interests? Well, my first thing, make sure to get involved with the transdisciplinary competition that John mentioned earlier. I know that our assistant our assistant dean, Dr. Weston, would love to talk to you all about it and would love for you to be a part of it. But I'm sure that there is more beyond that. So I'll let our panelists also answer?
I think just in general, our socials that Tim hosts are great for starting those conversations. I was really excited one time when we were downtown and I was just listening to people who didn't know each other. I don't think even they were even both from downtown campus, but they were just starting that conversation of like, oh, we should work on something together. So I think definitely use the socials for networking and for possible collaborations. And like Tim said, the Grand Challenge is a great way to start.
I agree.
Wonderful. Well, it looks like that's all the questions we have. Thank you for everyone who did submit questions. I will say, if you do have questions after this and that something comes up, this just because we are done with this orientation doesn't mean you can't continue to ask questions. You could reach out to us via gps@utsa.edu email address, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, Dr. Madrana, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about this because this last part is your survey.
Yes, thank you. So I put my email in the chat. Just if you ever want to connect with me, feel free to email me. The last part of this is a doctoral student survey. So if you can pull out your phone, if you're not on your phone already, scan the QR code. It's going to take you to a survey that's going to ask questions just about how we can better serve you. Once you complete that survey, you'll have a screen that's a thank you screen. And that's kind of like your proof of completing it, right? So if you bring it to the graduate school and ask for me, I will have swag ready for you to pick up. So please take the time to complete the survey. It's going to be really helpful for us to continue to better our programming to meet your needs. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
I can figure out how to unmute myself. I think we have one more. Oh yeah, a lot of this question has been coming in a lot, and I'll just verbally answer. A lot of questions is because this is mandatory, do you have my attendance? And yes, we do. If you are in this Zoom session, we have your name and all of your information, so you do receive credit for attending this session. So yes. Beyond that, is it, as they say. I am so happy that you all attended with us this morning and afternoon. And thanks to all of my colleagues that not only shared the responsibilities of providing information, but also moderating. So Maria and Jeff and Tim and Madhumita and Herman and Sam and Joanne. Thank you to all my colleagues and coworkers for being here with us. Just some last parting words. Although I was not a doctoral student, I am a two-time alum of UTSA. And I was a graduate student at UTSA. And at that time, there were no, this was back in a long time ago, 2008, when I joined the graduate school. There were no services and resources for graduate students. Everything was geared towards undergrads. Graduate students were basically on their own. Since that time, and as you can see, what we're giving you is a snapshot of primarily what we offer for you in our department and how we can connect with you. But there are resources, departments, services across UTSA, both campuses, that are engaged with our graduate student population. They all have, some of them have special sessions for graduate students. Some of them have special events for graduate students. As Tim mentioned, a lot of our campus partners are highly involved in like Graduate Student Appreciation Week and other events that we host. We are here. We, as the graduate school and all the services, resources, events, and special sessions we provide, and all of our campus partners are here for you. All you need to do is reach out and either ask a question or attend a program. We want you to get involved. But you need to take part in your own development as a student here at UTSA, and you need to reach out and look for that assistance if you need it, whether it be the writing center or speaking with your faculty, getting engaged with your cohort. All of the pieces that have been discussed today, touched upon, and will be continued, throughout your various sessions, throughout your IDP doctoral journey. All these items will be discussed, thesis and dissertation support, but you have to attend, you have to take part in your own success. So don't try to do this as a singular person in a vacuum. The best way to be successful is to reach out and get engaged and take part in your own successes, in your own development. You'll find that your time as a doctoral student will be far more enjoyable if you really participate as part of the Roadrunner community. And those are my last parting words for you. So again, thank you all for attending today. Be on the lookout for the follow-up email I'll be sending out. If not to this afternoon, then definitely tomorrow. And classes start next week. Give yourself plenty of time if you're not familiar with campus to navigate yourself, and have a wonderful, not only first week of your courses, but also a wonderful first semester. So thank you, everyone.